It's the last day of the month, and Eid Barka Salah to you. Good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse with me, Samuel Kojo. We're live on DSTV channel 41, GoTV channel 125, and on social media platforms, as well as around the world on myjoyonline.com. Coming up, this mixed reactions have erupted over the government's decision to fly the vice president abroad for medical treatment, with critics insisting that such practices must end 68 years after independence. We have more on that, plus the latest update on the vice president's whereabouts. Also, President John Dramani Mahama asks residents of Bako to imbibe tenets of Eid by giving peace a chance in the area. Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Bagbing announces National Integrity Awards to honor citizens blazing a trail in anti-corruption and nation building. Plus the National Vulture Award to be bestowed on corrupt individuals. That will be some kind of award to do. But also in the hour, Joy News investigation show failed attempt to industrialize Songo salt mine as modernity and tradition lock horns. And later in our Ghana Man series, we'll tell you about how you can, disappear in an enclave in the Upper West region if you don't ask for permission before you enter.
Shells. We've used the beads. Our present money cedi is the name of a shell.
The cowries.
The cowries.
Cedi. Okay.
And we today use it as our money. Yeah, so that tells you that the cedi was once our money.
So the name cedi comes from the word cedi.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you have it. You hear the reasoning, or what do we call the Ghana currency cedi? We'll tell you in that particular feature by Adobia here on The Pulse. Once again, my name is Samuel Kojo. I'm being produced by Carlos Calodi. On behalf of the team, thanks for joining us. Do stay. Well, for decades, Ghana has depended on the export of commodities such as oil, gas, cocoa, and gold. However, one valuable resource along the country's coastline, salt, has remained largely untapped. The Songo Lagoon in Ada, located in the Greater Accra region, is Ghana's largest salt reserve. Despite its potential to provide thousands of jobs, successive governments have failed to commercialize its production effectively. Joy News' latest online documentary investigates the repeated failed attempt to industrialize the Songo salt mine under 4 successive regimes.
Ghana has depended on exporting commodities such as oil, gas, cocoa, gold, and other goods for years. Salt, another valuable resource abundant along Ghana's coastline, remains less explored. The Songo Lagoon in Ada, located in the Greater Accra region of Ghana, is the largest salt reserve in the country. Unfortunately, the country has not been able to fully harness the potential of the salt mine, capable of providing employment opportunities to thousands of Ghanaians. 3 policy plans proposed for the development of salt resources in Ghana couldn't see the light of day. In this documentary, we investigate the reasons behind failed attempts to commercialize the Songo salt mine and the way forward. Under 4 successive regimes in Ghana's history, several companies and a list of individuals have attempted and failed in their quest to industrialize and drive sustainable development of salt at Ada. These failures were not because of a lack of capital. With government's quest to drive sustainable development of salt at Ada, 2 companies, Vacuum Salt and Star Chemicals, were given the lease to operate in the area.
Originally, it was about 37 square miles. But later on, government came in and said, well, he was going to share it 3 times, a 3. One for the chiefs again, and then one for Mr. Nate. And then, in other words, it was divided into 3 parts.
Unfortunately, these 2 companies couldn't survive, and it wasn't because of capital.
Then started conflict because the methods used for industrial production conflicted with the traditional methods. Industrial production of salt should always have the lagoon full of brine, completely at loggerheads with the traditional methods, which would mean when the lagoon gets filled, they wait until it dries up, typically towards Hamatan, and then salt is formed in the lagoon, and then they mine it. So clear case for conflict.
Well, would the documentary explores into details what's happening in Songo and what can be done to really commercialize that particular resource there. But Regional Minister James Gunu has announced an initiative to prevent chieftaincy disputes. He says the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, Volta Regional House of Chiefs and Peace Council will form a synergy towards achieving the objectives. Mr. Gunu made this known at the coronation of 3 traditional rulers in the Afia Denyigba traditional area of the Keta municipality. There's more in this report.
Rich Ghanaian culture and heritage were on full display at the coronation ceremony of the Chief of Dumre Ponuga of Angolon Afia Denyigba, Togbi Ekpe Subu the Fifth, Agbotadua Amesimeku, and Mama Yeshike Subu II, all of Angolon Afia Denyigba. Traditional authorities from across the length and breadth of the country gathered to witness the performance of the final traditional rites for the newly installed chiefs and queens. Togbi Ekpe Subu Defi, who is a senior specialist obstetrician and gynecologist, said their installation marks a new beginning for the Afia Denyigba traditional area. He appealed for the construction of the Angolon Afia Denyigba road network to open up the area.
It is heartwarming to learn that our President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was installed as a development chief of Angolon Afia. Therefore, I use this occasion to send a humble appeal for His Excellency's commitment to complete the Angolon Afia Havaji Road. When completed, this road will direct investment traffic toward this enclave to support the government's agro-business initiative.
The chief of Keji, Togbi Tagbo, underscored the significance of the chieftaincy institution in the development of the country.
Let us always remember that chieftaincy belongs to the people, and its survival depends on its ability to serve their interests. A chief's authority is not for personal gain, but for the collective good of the community.
The Volta Regional Minister, James Gunu, highlighted efforts being made to curtail chieftaincy disputes in his jurisdiction.
Now capacity building, now kuda intifafa,
I have had discussions with the Regional Peace Council and the House of Chiefs to organize capacity building programs for our chiefs on peace building and development. We are planning to institute an annual award scheme for the most peaceful traditional area in the region.
The most peaceful traditional area in the region.
The event was characterized by drumming.
Let's now throw our attention on one raging topical issue in this country, the health status of Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, because that is drawing significant attention as mixed reactions have erupted over the government's decision to fly her abroad for medical treatment. A government statement released a few days ago confirmed that the Vice President had fallen ill and initially sought care at the University of Ghana Medical Center, where doctors recommended further treatment abroad. However, many Ghanaians have expressed frustration, questioning why politicians continue to seek medical attention overseas. 68 years after independence, the decision has reignited debate about the state of the country's healthcare system and the need for self-sufficiency in that sector. Now, we will delve deeper into these concerns shortly, but first, where is the Vice President now and what is the current health status? Joining us on Zoom is host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Nyankson, who's been doing some digging. Kojo, grateful to you that you've dug enough and I've joined us with all the latest. What fresh things do we know about the whereabouts of the Vice President and health condition as we speak?
Thank you, Samuel. And the latest is that the Vice President, after being flown out of the country in the early hours of Sunday, arrived in the United Kingdom, where further testing was done. What we are made to understand is that on Friday evening in her residence, she suffered an incident which resulted in her being rushed to the University of Ghana Medical Center. When she arrived there, she was treated and she was given several tests. She awaited the results of the test at the University of Ghana Medical Center. While she was there, the president stopped by to see her to make sure that she was okay. The results of those initial tests came in at the University of Ghana Medical Center, and it was discovered that almost all the results were favorable except for one. And the outcome of that one particular test required further investigation. So the doctors of the Vice President advised that she get another test done. That other test could not be done at the University of Ghana Medical Center. The doctors then recommended that she be flown out of the country for this other test to be done. She was subsequently flown to the United Kingdom, where she arrived early on Sunday morning. The tests were done. The results are coming in. We are made to understand that there is soon to be a statement updating Ghanaians about the outcome of these tests. Okay. But what we do know is that the Vice President is in the United Kingdom. We also know that she is stable and she is quite well. We are awaiting outcomes of these tests, but we do know that the Vice President is stable. She's in the United Kingdom, from where she released a statement earlier today wishing those celebrating Eid al-Fitr a happy Eid.
But if it's just for medical examination, why were we told she was going for further treatment?
Well, I suppose that treatment can be classified as, I suppose that a blood test can be classified as medical treatment. Okay. We are told that the purpose for the visit to the United Kingdom is to carry out very specific tests that could not be done at the University of Ghana Medical Center. This is what we are told by those very close to the Vice President. I expect that is what was captured in the original statement as medical treatment. Okay. But we are picking up today that it was indeed for further testing following initial tests at University of Ghana Medical Center. Okay.
If it's about testing, do we have any idea as to when we should expect her back in Ghana?
What we know is that the statement, which is to be released later today, will give clear indication of what is to happen next. Now that she has completed the medical process in the United Kingdom, it will now be possible for them to clarify to the people of Ghana what happens next in the case of the Vice President. All of this will be clearly laid out in the statement that is expected to be released anytime now.
Okay. But do we know the name of this medical facility she is?
That information has not yet been shared.
Okay. All right. So it means that per what we have, what we are waiting for is the result that from the medical test they did. That's the only thing they are waiting for now.
that is what the people of Ghana are waiting for. I suspect that the Vice President has already been given the outcome of the test, but we in Ghana who are waiting updates, the next thing we will be informed of, according to our sources close to the Vice President, is that we will be informed of the outcome of these tests.
But our mother is strong and healthy, at least, so that is.
That is confirmed by those closest to him as we speak.
Okay, all right.
Closest to her, forgive me.
Okay, because you're grateful that you could do this again to help Ghanaians put a lot of minds at ease. We have been joined on the line by Haruna Mohammed, who is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. We will also be joined, we also have on the line Professor Titus Biyo. He's a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, and he is a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. We'll be having a chat with him on this about, health infrastructure in Ghana. But the NPP have some demands about, whatever is happening. Harun, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Why is it important that the NPP would want to know, what is really happening to our Vice President? Is it about focusing on infrastructure or wanting to know exactly what is wrong with the Vice President?
Thank you very much, Kojo. I will take this opportunity to wish the good people of Ghana, more especially the Muslim fraternity, a happy Eid al-Fitr celebration. And on behalf of the New Patriotic Party, we also take the opportunity to wish Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Nana, well in her treatment for these particular medical assistance. We all know that Ghana is confronted with some medical challenge that it has to take His Excellency, the former President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to take a bold decision to be able to implement the biggest health infrastructure in Ghana. And that is in the area of providing health facility for every district that lacked safe. We were in this particular situation when COVID came and we had to think through and think outside the box. We were doing so because we wanted to make sure that health provision becomes an essential activity that will be able to be given to the Ghanaian citizen, irrespective of your position. So it is very imperative for all of us to note that health is very important, just as water. And that is why the MPP took the bold decision to do so. I've heard that she's going for just a test, but the statement that is being issued out there is talking about going for a further care, that is further medical care. I have worked in the medical environment, not as a medical person, but I do know that when somebody is being referred and is going for further medical check, or the person is being referred for test, that one is very clear. The government communication is not in reference to going for test, but all the same, we want to wish her well. Not long ago, these people, the NDC people, the NDC presidency, as we speak, are not very honest to the good people of Ghana. They are not honest. And that is why God has brought us to where we are today. His Excellency, the President today, told us that the University of Ghana Medical Center was established to stop public officials from traveling abroad for health care. And today, that particular facility did not vanish. That particular facility is there. So at the time you are playing propaganda and playing on the emotions of the good people of Ghana, the reality has dawned on you, and you cannot dodge it. We had people who were in the academia. Example is Professor Dampo, who said that Baumia medical leave. Why UK and not Ghana? You see, medication has no limitation. You can have the best facility, but you may need something and it requires an expert view, which you don't have it. That is why one Johari's window says you have your known part and you have your unknown part, your blind side and your the side that you know.
Okay.
So you cannot have everything, even if you have the facility. You might be seeking something outside the country.
Okay.
And that is why we encourage politicians to be honest when you are in opposition. When you are speaking to matters, be very mindful that these are very sensitive matters.
So yours is more like you did it to me, so I'm doing it to you.
No, we are not. That is why I wished her well. That's why I wished her well. You know, the current foreign minister said that public officials should be stopped from seeking medical care abroad. Today, he had to arrange all the diplomatic processes. The same person who said that public officials must be stopped from seeking medical care abroad. But he had to arrange those facilities for our good professor, Her Excellency, the Vice President, to access medical care outside. So it is there. And that is why we are saying that these people in government today are being exposed by their own words.
Okay.
And we must not play with the health of very big personalities in Ghana.
Okay. I'll come back to you, but let me bring in someone who is in the medical profession, who is a member of the medical committee of Parliament, a health committee of Parliament, and a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. Professor Titus B., I'm grateful to you for joining here. Now, is it time for the country, 68 years after independence, to look at how we can develop our health infrastructure to ensure that we have all the critical care that we will need in the country, so we don't seek medical care outside the shores of this country?
All right. A very good evening to you and to your listeners and viewers. And let me use the opportunity to say Barakah Salah to all our Muslim brothers and all those celebrating. I listened carefully to the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, and I am sad by his admissions. For you to say that it's because of his honesty that God has brought us this far. Are you then saying, what are you saying? And in one breath, say you are wishing the person well. What exactly are you saying here? But let's put that aside. Let me wish Her Excellency well. I have getting information that she's fine and she'll be with us soon. If you talk about medical infrastructure, which is where you would know that per the release, she was initially sent to the UGSC. Healthcare was taken. Now, no matter how sophisticated a healthcare system you have, at some point, you may need external help. And it doesn't matter what level of infrastructure you have. It is very difficult for any country to be health neutral, completely neutral, and to say that they will not send people out, they will not bring it. There is room to improve the health infrastructure. And if you are celebrating someone, and then it's unfortunate you want to bring in this agenda 111 on an occasion like this, I wouldn't have wanted to go in that dimension. Because if you are talking about
Prof, I'll let you continue, but is it your argument that the U.S., for example, will fly their vice president to, say, UK or Russia or anywhere else to seek medical attention?
I'm not talking about their vice president. I'm just telling you, don't meet each other. Okay. I am a medical doctor. I'm a medical professor. I've gone to the U.S. In the U.S., we have Ghanaians in the U.S. who come here to offer services. Okay. Things that we also have expertise, conditions that we have expertise in the U.S. I operate on women in the U.S., in Ghana here. Private individual. I'm a gynecologist. But you have fibroids. The minimal assistance. Many of them do not do open surgeries now for fibroids. If you have an African origin and you are based in the U.S. with a certain degree of fibroids, they will struggle to operate it there. And it may be a wise decision, go to the area where they are.
Doc, you're making a very vital point, but we keep losing you along the line. I don't know if you can reposition yourself a bit for me.
Please, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So all I'm trying to say is that in the medical field, several reasons can account for people moving in and out of a country.
Okay.
Private persons, individuals. And it is there is room to improve our health infrastructure. There's no doubt in that. And when we are talking about that room, you should not think that because we improve our health infrastructure to a certain point, to get to a particular day that no human being will move from one country to another country. Okay. Then what is the basis for medical tourism? Because there are peculiar things, because of peculiar practices. Some people have a certain skill that others may not have. And therefore, private persons, government officials occasionally may have to move in between countries. But let me go to the substantive point about improving our health infrastructure. It is critical that we do that. All governments have tried, and we can judge the efforts of all governments in the past and see what everybody has done. The current only quaternary hospital we have in this country is the UGMC, and that's where our vice president was sent first, right? So most sub-government officials have sought treatment. And when they think that you need to seek further treatment somewhere, you would go. Who brought that infrastructure? His Excellency John Ibanka initiated it. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama continued and completed the phase 1, right?
Yeah.
So you come in and you are talking about health infrastructure, you're going to mention Agenda 111. As I'm saying, I wish I wouldn't have gone into that direction. Agenda 111 is the most poorly thought through health infrastructure project ever in this country. It defied all the logic of project management that you will start 111 hospitals, later bring them down to whatever number at a goal, without piloting, without any plan. How many of them are operational? And so we have
Prof, is that what makes it, as you describe, as the most poorly thought through policy the country has ever brought?
Check the correct boxes. Check the boxes for policies that follow proper project implementation strategy. Was it logical that we look at how much money we have and decide to start a certain number that we can complete? Was it logical that we pilot to see? Was it logical that we look at the human resource component of Agenda 111? Great. If you had finished all these 111 hospitals at a goal in 18 months as it was promised, where would human resources staff then? Where? How are we going to do it? We are building them as specialist hospitals. How many years it takes to train a specialist? What did we put in place to generate the specialists that will man these facilities? We're doing that at a time where our people were exodusing this country in huge numbers, in droves. We do to stem that tide. So when we continue bringing this sloganeering, it doesn't help the national discourse. I am a medical doctor. I have said I would never on any day say that adding to our health infrastructure is unnecessary. Language is a beneficial on Agenda 111. I love it. I pray that John Dramani Mahama will help us to complete it. I want it completed. But all I'm saying is that we could have prioritized the over $400 million spent, could have completed about 22 of them. How many have we completed? Now you leave this as an albatross neck of your successor. No dedicated source of funding. He had to find means. But thank God, we have a leader, a visionary leader, who has demonstrated it before, who gave us a rich hospital, who gave us Dodua, who gave us the UGMC, which is our only quaternary hospital, under whose hospital the bank hospital came. And he's saying that he's not going to follow the wasteful plan that we do sometimes as a nation. He has charged the health minister, see all options possible, including PPPs, to complete this Agenda 111, because they will add to our health infrastructure. And he has come with a policy to promote health tourism, medical tourism. That means that we have to revamp our hospital. Place like Kolebu is on the radar to be equipped to a quaternary level. Konfanochi the same, so that what UGMC is doing, these other hospitals can do same no more. What this will mean is that rather than we worry about people leaving, people will actually be coming to this country to seek medical care, and it will even be a net foreign exchange earner for this country. That is the angle at which the government is thinking. That is the trajectory that we want to move. So it is important to add on our health infrastructure. That's a fundamental point. And if you check in the State of the Nation address, His Excellency did mention we carry out a national medical equipment replacement program during the last NDC administration. Since then, we've never had another medical equipment placement program of that magnitude. If I don't know the condition of for which the vice president had to go for whatever medical attention is needed, but if she needed certain basic imaging procedures to be done at Kolebu, you will realize that you go there, this machine is down, that machine is down. Go to the rich hospital. A CT scan has been down for more than 2 years. If you don't do anything about this, and then you say that no one should travel, so if you need a critical imaging, be able to make a critical diagnosis, and you don't have it, the person should stay and die. The doctor should not be able to make a diagnosis and know exactly what to do.
But isn't that why people are calling for the government to resource the medical sector so well that some of these equipment that you speak of will be in Ghana, so there will be less need for people to travel abroad to seek medical attention?
I like the way you put it, that there will be less need. I would wish that everybody will be treated in this country. And the government has made that deliberate decision that they are to replace obsolete equipment in our hospital. And that's why I said His Excellency mentioned it, that we are going to do a national medical equipment replacement. Not only that, we are going to raise the standards of the hospital. We have only one national hospital, and we want to promote our large teaching hospitals to that level. That is the vision with which we started. We are only 3 months into government, but it is something he's deliberately working on to deliver.
Okay.
So I think the thoughts of His Excellency Dramani Mahama is in line with what you are saying, so that we get to a point where it is only critical and essential situations or conditions that will necessitate people to move. But granted, despite all of this, if we have everything in this country, maybe only public officials may be restricted. But even then, individuals may have preferences. And a private person, they to seek care somewhere, you can stop them. And if for public officials who are traveling on the public fares, that's a different discussion to be had. But if it's on the recommendation of their doctor, that I am the one managing you, have seen this condition, I need to do something about it. There's a doctor in the UAE who has performed thousands of these procedures. There's a doctor in the UK who has done 300 of these procedures. There's a doctor in Germany who has done 2,000 of these procedures. I want you to go to Germany. No one will stop that. Are we saying that your call to public service is a death sentence, so that when you even deserve to receive treatment, you shouldn't receive treatment? No. So let's improve the services in this country for everybody. All lives are equal. Everybody is equally important. Everybody's health is important. The rich and the poor should get the best of healthcare that they need to have.
Okay.
That is when we have been able to decentralize our healthcare, bring a universal health coverage, whether you are in Lambuse or you are anywhere. If you have a medical emergency, your chance of survival should be as good as anybody anywhere else in this country. That's the goal.
Okay.
And if you need to be treated in this country, something should not stop your physician because he cannot do a particular test, he cannot do a particular scan.
Okay.
He should get whatever he needs to do it.
Okay.
But if he gets to a point where he thinks that because of a particular skill, a particular experience, a particular technique, he wants you to go somewhere, I do not see why we should say you should not move.
Okay. Now, in the year 2022, April, the current Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, said, and I quote, "Also, on medical trips abroad for public officials, particularly the political class, I pray for the day we can ban the practice of all, including the president, vice president, speaker, deputy speakers, MPs, first and second ladies, ministers, presidential staffers, special assistants, etc. Will you support a legislation in Parliament, that is banning the treatment of public officials in abroad? I mean, so if someone initiate, or will your committee initiate or support the initiation of no treatment abroad for any public official if it should ever come to your committee?
So I would never support such a legislation. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I would support us improving the health system in Ghana so that we are all comfortable here.
Okay.
Let me tell you, the vice president or any other person who is going abroad for treatment, if they had the option in Ghana and it was available in Ghana, everybody would like to be in Ghana. Reason that if I am here, if I, Professor Bayo, is to be treated in Ghana here, my family can be with me, everybody can be with me, the hospitality I will get, the confidence having my own people will never be the same as going somewhere. So when people move, it is sometimes because it's absolutely critical. Now, the reason why I will not support such a legislation, and I'm explaining that to you, that we do not only travel because you don't have equipment. We do not only travel because your infrastructure is poor. Sometimes you travel because of a critical skill. It is a good prayer the Honorable Minister is wishing for, and we'll support that prayer that we get a day where everything we want is available in this country so that people will wish to stay here and be treated. But to ban it completely is a death sentence under some conditions, because there will be conditions, medical conditions, that will necessitate that someone moves to a different country. It could be any country at all. And I've just given you an example. There are some, we are now in a global village. There are conditions that we never teach in medical school in Ghana. I teach in a medical school in Ghana. In Ghana, if you present to the medicals, if you present to the clinic with fever, with headache, the first suspicion we think everybody should think about will be malaria.
Okay.
If you presented in Europe with the same headache and fever, the medical students are not taught to suspect malaria first, right? So there are conditions that may arise that the expertise in managing those conditions may not be in this country at the time. Not because we haven't trained our people well. We can even have Ghanaians with that expertise, but in another country. So it's either we are bringing them in to provide that care or to get their expertise, or we are sending the person out. So somebody needs to go in and have an urgent interventional procedure.
Okay.
And we say that because the person is a medical public servant, the person should not travel.
Okay.
So that I will beg to differ.
Okay.
But we should make sure that we improve the services in this country to the point that it is only critical and essential things that will necessitate, especially those who travel on the public purse.
Okay.
But if a private person can get up and go to a particular place because he prefers a particular doctor, he prefers a particular type of service, why should we deny someone completely of that option? Because there may be some people who are in public service who are willing to pay for their own service. So what should be the ban? So it's something to really be discussed carefully.
Okay.
We should never sacrifice putting the medical infrastructure in place in this country. That's paramount.
Okay.
But a total ban, we ought to tread cautiously.
Okay. A viewer just sent in this message. Ebenezer Odro is sending in from, this is Takrade. He says, ask Prof for me, how different is Agenda 111 from the day schools that President Mahama implemented? I don't know if you want to respond to that.
I will respond to that. Okay. Excellent question. So you ask yourself, the day schools that Mahama initiated, were some completed? Were they commissioned? Were they operationalized? And the answer is yes. Agenda 111, did that happen? And look at the priority settings. In Lambuse, I always use my district. We had only 2 secondary schools for a district of over 50,000 people. Okay. We benefited from a day school in our district capital. It is the only day school, only secondary school we have in the district capital now, and it's functioning. It was completed, it was commissioned, and it's working. So there is a clear difference. Mahama, His Excellency, did not spread the resources thin across the whole country.
Okay.
That he never finished anyone. We didn't have a situation where there was no dedicated funding for this. Get fund finance them, well-bound finance them, and that happened. They should tell us what the funding plan for Agenda 111 was. And as they have left office, where is it? The day schools that His Excellency commissioned, he never did the project in the office of the president. One other reason why Agenda 111 was a complete failure is because the entire project was in the office of the president. Why? We have a Ministry of Health with all the engineers, biomedical engineers, construction. They have an infrastructure unit, directorate, that supervises every hospital construction in this country. they were all put aside, and everything was being done in the office of the president. Thankfully, His Excellency has returned it back to the Ministry of Health, where our natural resources and human resources are to help us manage the situation.
Prof, I'm grateful to you that you made your knowledge available to us here on the Pulse. Professor Titus Bio is a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, and he is a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. This is still the Pulse, and we are looking at...
so you have to give me time. You've given him a lot of time to speak on this matter.
Don't worry, I'll give you time, Mohammed, I'll give you time. We are discussing the need for us to improve healthcare sector of this country to ensure that we limit the number of times, especially people of the political class travel out of the country to seek medical attention. But Mohammed, is it not time we move away from the politics to rather, focus on how can we develop the health sector of this country such that people like you and those in the political class will not find it, easy traveling outside of the country anytime there's a slight challenge?
Well, this is the right question. It's a very good one. I would have wished that this was put before the medical professional. He spoke more politics than medicine because I thought that he was going to speak purely on medicine, but he spoke more politics than concentrating on the medical aspect. I think he got it wrong when he talked about project management. I think that he should, I don't know whether he has diversified his knowledge area, but I'm a project management professional, and I know that there is nowhere in the execution of projects that you have to pilot the project before you can even expand it to the number or the proportion of which the former administration had put the Agenda 111 through. It is not true. The basic
but Mohammed, doesn't it, sorry for cutting you there, but doesn't it make common sense to pilot it in a small level and then you expand it based on the results you get?
Kojo, you agree with us that apart from even the Agenda 111, the president of the Republic, the former president, built close to 37. He spoke about even the University of Ghana Medical Center, the phase 1. He didn't even mention about the phase 2. You know that the phase 2 was done by us. You go and check Akuntumbra Hospital. It was built by us. You check Bogoro Hospital, Elubu, Mpoho, Nswayem, Wasa Donkwa, Weta, Somanya, Tolong, Sola, Bupe, so many hospitals. Apart from the Agenda 111, it means that some of these hospitals, about 37 or so, have been built outside the Agenda 111. It is also true that the Agenda 111 did not even see a completion of a single project. The Echumakwabunya Municipal Hospital at Trede, the Oforikrom Municipal Hospital at Kokobin, and at Hunter West. These are hospitals that have been completed. The other ones that are in various stages of completion, 90, 70, 80% completion point. And let me tell him, he's saying that the schools that Mahama built was having a dedicated funding zone. That is false. There was no dedicated funding. It was government of Ghana funding, apart from the one that was funded by the World Bank. A lot of the projects were still at the grass level, which there was no even completion or even at a starting point in terms of execution, because projects have stages of project implementation. So it is absolutely not true. He should have focused more speaking on the medical aspect, of which I agree, because I have made that point very clear, that we should not be joking with our medical care system. Yes, no matter how knowledgeable, no matter how experienced you have, you might need some access of healthcare outside the jurisdiction of Ghana. So we cannot ban this. And I said that it's because of dishonesty that we are where we are today. Not because the vice president is sick, but because somebody who had this in mind, who thought that he can bash a government because he's in opposition. He mentioned that we need to ban them. We need to make sure that this doesn't happen. Because of that dishonesty, God has made it possible that we are discussing this matter because of those persons' dishonesty. Kojo, you agree?
Well, but the only point that, there's a digression is when you say by the grace of God, then you want to say that God got our vice president ill so we can have this discussion.
No,
that's the unfortunate
I said
part.
that it's because of dishonesty that we are where we are today, and we are discussing this matter. Assuming the current president didn't make that statement when he was in opposition, assuming Ablakwa didn't make that statement when we were in opposition, Kojo, will you see the need for us to be discussing and making reference to their quotations? No, but because they were very dishonest, and that is very factual. So let's speak on more medical than to be speaking more of political when you are given the opportunity to speak and let people know. I cannot support the total ban of people going outside. I cannot support that because expertise varies. People are coming from other countries to Ghana. People are coming from other countries to Ghana for medical care because we have some certain medical essentials that people don't have in their countries and they come. So I cannot stand and be very dishonest as NDC was in opposition to say that we have to ban public officers from accessing medical health care. That is not true. It is equal to putting them into Forest Square because you cannot get access and you must let the people to stay.
So
I must draw that line that NDC is very dishonest, and that is factual.
Okay, stay with me. Let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande. I wanted to mention his middle name, which is his nickname. Mustafa, grateful that you joined us here. But what do you make of the point that it is time the country start thinking about how to develop our health sector to the point where those of you in the political class won't fancy traveling outside the country? Where must we start from? At least someone has mentioned Agenda 111. In your thought, where must we start
from? Good afternoon, and good afternoon to our listeners and my brother on the other side. Indeed, today is a special day of Ramadan, and we wish our Muslim brothers all the best as they have renewed their strength and seek the face of God. We will be guided with wisdom, and the full potential of God's blessings upon our life will be realized. Now, I am very sad that today we are having this conversation because the vice president of our country took ill. The government have announced that she sought medical attention at the University of Ghana Medical Hospital.
Yeah.
However, due to some challenges, she would have to seek further medical attention outside this country.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, she's good.
Yeah.
In a few days, our mother will join us. And my brother, let me tell you, we can politicize the health of a man. That is okay. We have had the occasion to discuss the health of President Akufo-Addo when he was sleeping in public.
No, but I don't want us to discuss the health of.
No,
it shouldn't be the center. I just want us to
land. Let me land. If you allow me to land, I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Number two, because of that, MPP thinks that they must discuss the health of any other person, but not a woman. We should be a bit questionable when we are discussing politics decoupled from issues that are sensitive to women. The first female vice president of our country, a professor, the stress of having to constitute a government with speed after campaign and all of that. Now, whether or not...
Mustafa Bande, do I get the understanding that you're saying it's okay to discuss that of a man, but not that of a woman? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that the vice president is a woman. She took ill, and she's taking medical attention. Where we are as a country, what we need to hold all of us responsible for is the fact that after 50-something years, we have not been able to build a very robust medical infrastructure that will contain all of us. But indeed, it's important to state that today we can boast of an infrastructure such as the Bank of Ghana Hospital. we can also boast of the University of Ghana Hospital, constructed by President Mahama in its previous term. I had thought that President Akufo-Addo would be able to finish the Agenda 111, which, of course, would have also enhanced on what we already have. Indeed, Agenda 111 was one of the best government policies that would have helped to build upon what we have. But it is like when you give money to a thief to go and bank it, he will steal the money from on the way to the bank. A good policy implemented by wrong people who never have the objective of realizing what the policy was. And all the policy which was kept in their manifesto was to get them votes, and really not about enhancing on our medical infrastructure.
Bande,
so where we sit today,
I'm not sure. 8 years. But I'm not sure that will be an accurate description of the situation.
But the fact is that
hold on. If they were not committed, I'm not sure they would have even started some. I'm not sure they would have even completed some before leaving.
They only got committed because there was pressure. They promised the people. It was one of the Ponzi schemes they ran.
No.
You know? So they never completed it. So if it is wrong...
Bande, hold on.
Yeah.
Your description of policies, I'm not sure is right. To describe such a policy as a Ponzi scheme, you have described the policy as one of the best.
I just told you that it's one of the best policies intellectually.
So then what are you describing as a Ponzi scheme?
They never have the will to realize it. They never got committed to finishing it. So they politicized it. The people gave you a period within which they will finish. They claim, even run up to elections, they told you that they have completed most of it. They've never completed anything. Here we are today. A government that says they have built on medical infrastructure. Their most wanted man in this country, Ken Ofori-Atta, is in the U.S. taking medical attention. The secretary to the president, Asante Bediye, who just returned.
Mustafa, hold on.
You know, medical attention outside the country.
No, Mustafa, hold on. There's a lie I don't want us to tell. You know, I'm not into discussing or politicizing whether someone should travel. I say that. Let's look at, is it time for us to look at how we can develop our health infrastructure and where can we start from? Can't we do that? Can't we have that discussion without really bringing important
We can do that by, first of all, ensuring that we take politics away from medical profession, where we actually train the hands.
Okay.
And we take a deliberate government policy to retain the human resource. The problem of this country is not about the existence of some room or some building of a sort to undertake medical treatment.
Yeah.
But the situation is that, one, our medical professionals are all leaving this country. And if you go to check the records, most of our medical hands, which are good in this country, have all left because of the nature of governance that have been run in the last 8 years. So where we have come now, it is for all of us to come together and say, look, when I have gone to do politics and I'm back and I'm not well, I would certainly speak to a doctor. So therefore, let us get good doctors. Let us train more doctors. Let us take a government deliberate policy to ensure that we retain these doctors in our country, so that they are able to take care of all of us. I can tell you, Ghana has some of the best medical professionals, both here and abroad. If we are able to bring all of these people in, I'm sure that we will be fine. Number 3, I am very happy that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, as visionary as he is, have committed to completing what President Akufo-Addo have started, at least the Agenda 111 project. When that projects are completed, or when those projects are completed, it will not be only to the credit of President Akufo-Addo, but it will service the entire nation. My village, where we don't currently have a hospital, if we get those Agenda 111 hospitals completed, it will take care of our people who are sick. And so we should take politics out of the discussion as far as medical care is concerned. Why did the MPP wait to begin that conversation today when they have been in power for 8 years? They never thought that this day will come. You see, So we can do it. The government is in place. President Mahama have committed to completing those hospitals, which MPP should be happy because they started a good policy, and the NDC will certainly finish. Number 3, I'm saying that we should do our possible best to train, retain the human resource as far as our medical, profession is concerned. I'm sure that with 8 years, we can be good as a country where each and everyone would have to take a medical attention in this country. Because if you go to the hospitals today, the people working there are demoralized. They have patients and they don't have beds to take care of those patients. You go to the hospitals today and patients are lying down and they cannot pay for their bills because health insurance have collapsed. In the last 8 years, it was not functioning. All these burdens are on President John Dramani Mahama to try and deal with it. And I can assure you that he will do it.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the assurance that at least we'll see a direction that is to make sure that we retain talent here, make sure our health professionals are well catered for, that they will be happy to be here, train more hands in ensuring that we have the skill set that we go out there to look for.
The health minister have already kicked the ball rolling.
Okay.
When he was sworn in, one of the first things he did was to take a national tour to assess the stages of work that have been done as far as our hospital infrastructure is involved. And it will be followed by a deliberate government action to train and give special treat to people and persons within the medical profession so that they can stay. In fact, all of the people who have moved out of the country, it's time for us to come back so that we can build a dependable, robust medical infrastructure that can take care of all of us, including the rich and the poor. John Mahama will surely fulfill that mandate.
Okay. All right. Mustafa, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Your middle name is for you, right?
Yes, that is what the MPP doesn't like. It's for you.
Mustafa Foyo Gbande is the Deputy General Secretary of the ruling National Democratic Congress. Earlier, you had Mohammed. Okay. I'm told, Mohammed, I'm told I have you still on.
Yeah, I'm on. I listen to the propaganda.
Okay. So let me give you a minute to wrap up.
I want to put this on record before we exit this program. I want to put this on record. In terms of completion of government projects, John Mahama is not the right person that we have to bet to complete that. And I'll give you examples. Eurogate projects that were left over by President Kufuor, they could not do that. Ga East Municipal Hospital was completed by Akufo-Addo in 2019. Nkoko Hospital was commissioned in 2021 by Akufo-Addo. They are Eurogate projects. Wa Regional Hospital was commissioned in 2019 by Akufo-Addo. They could not complete that. Chieftaincy District Hospital was commissioned in 2021 by Akufo-Addo. They could not complete that. Konongo Odumase District Hospital was commissioned in 2022. They couldn't complete that. The 250-bed Ashanti Regional Hospital in Sewo was commissioned in 2024, and 500-bed Afari Municipal Hospital. So this government cannot be trusted to be completing projects that have been left over by previous government.
Okay.
And when you ask him a very critical question, he was talking about the health of Akufo-Addo and when he was sleeping in public because he was not well. When we have a president who carries a flask around and nobody knows the content of the flask,
that's okay. Haruna, I'm grateful.
No,
I'm grateful.
I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying that I'm questioning his health. But when you have a president that carries a flask and the content is not known, and when he sleeps, can you say that something that he took from that?
No. But anybody can carry a flask around. We all do carry a flask around.
So anybody can also sleep in a program. Anybody. And that does not amount to the president's health. You see, if you are asking a critical question of us looking at the health infrastructure, and that is what we are saying, and I will maintain my point, and I will say it clearly, that even if you have all the health infrastructure that we have, there may be an essential service we will need outside, and public officials may be taken outside to be able to access that. Or we have to go outside and bring a medical professional to be able to attend to a public official. That can always happen. And that is what we must all look at.
I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to you, Haruna Mohammed. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. And earlier on in the show, you heard Professor Titus Biyo. He's a member of the Health Committee of Parliament. Well, this is still the pulse. Away from that, President John Mahama is asking residents of Boko to imbibe the tenet of Eid by giving peace a chance in the area. The Boko area has had its fair share of violence, leading to a rise in tension there. Speaking at Ido Fito a while ago, President Mahama urged feuding factions to unite for a better Boko.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
The holy month of Ramadan has ended and thousands of Muslims gathered here at the Black Star Square to commemorate the day. Present here were Muslim clerics, President John Mahama, top government officials, and persons from all walks of life. In his speech, President Mahama made a passionate appeal to the people of Boko to embrace peace.
And on this day, I want to take the opportunity once again to call on our brothers and sisters in Boko to give peace a chance. On this holy occasion, where we celebrate the feast of Eid al-Fitr after the holy month of Ramadan, my brothers and sisters in Boko, let us give peace a chance. Once again, I extend my warmest wishes to all Muslims in Ghana and all over the world. Eid Mubarak, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
President Mahama also warned people building in waterways that they'll be made to face the full rigors of the law.
I must address a deeply troubling issue: the illegal construction of buildings in waterways, causing flooding and extensive destruction of property. As we know, the rains are about to start, and already we can see flooding because people have built and blocked the rivers, and so the rivers have nowhere to go but to back up. This reckless disregard for planning regulations and environmental safety is a major contributor to the devastating floods that continue to plague our communities. I'm aware of instances where private businesses, colluding with some chiefs, are turning water retention areas, Ramsaya sites, into built-up zones. Let me be clear, this must stop. Those structures will be pulled down. We will not allow a few selfish individuals to endanger the lives and livelihoods of countless others. The law will be enforced, and those who flout it will face the consequences.
The National Chief Imam has also been speaking here. He also made a passionate appeal to the people of Boko to embrace peace.
Sa'annan Mala ya ce yarsa kuma na'ibin shugaban kasa ita ma Allah kara mata lafiya.
Your Excellency, it has reached me by word of information that your Vice President, our Vice President, has been taken ill and she is now under the care of the doctors. My prayer is that Allah will grant her speedy recovery.
Amin. Sa'annan Mala ya ce shi ma shugaban kasa Allah ya daukaka shi. Allah ya taimake shi. Amin.
Yeah, may the Almighty Allah support and be behind you.
Amin. Mala ce wa'anda ya ba daraja tun daga ministoci har kasa Allah ya sa su taimake shi da shi.
Those who have been appointed by the president, may they also be able to be supportive and loyal to the president and reflect on it.
Ba yaki tsakanin mu.
There shall arise in the world no conflict, no war.
Mu duka ba mun fito daga Adamu da Hawwa.
We all come from Adam and Hawa.
Ya mai da mu manyan kabilu da kananan kabilu.
He made us into races and tribes.
Yace li ta'arafu. Domin mu san juna,
so that
mu
in our
taimake juna.
diversity we will recognize and acknowledge each other and be supporters of each other.
Malam yace mutanen Boko yana musu addu'a da wale duka.
My attention is turned to the people of Boko. I want to say my prayer for them.
Malam yace Allah ya sanyaya zuciyarsu.
May God cool them and calm down their hearts.
Abinda suke yin nan Malam yace ba dadi.
Whatever they are doing is something that is unapproved.
Allah na cewa,
Allah says,
wala taqtulu anfusakum. Kada ku kashe kanku.
do not kill one another.
Saboda Allah mai jin kanku ne.
Because Allah is compassionate unto you.
Allah ya gwada yana jin kanmu ne.
Allah has indicated that he is compassionate unto us.
Yace kada mu kashe kawunan mu.
So therefore we should not kill ourselves.
Mala yace su yi hakuri su dubi wanga aya.
Therefore I plead with the people of Boko to reflect on this particular text.
I've been speaking to some of the celebrants who gathered here at the Independence Square.
Naba Abbas Nyaba Akayezia Kelhaba Yinambo now Greater Accra Fafa Chief. My message to the Muslim community, the whole Ghana, especially the Fafa community in Greater Accra and Upper East, Bolga and Boko, Walla Walla. I pray to them that there should be calm, there should be peace reigning in Boko and Walla Walla. There should be peace in Walla Walla. This message is coming from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm thanking all the community, the youth here. They should be kind, they should be careful for the riding the motors, the motor. You see, the president spoke about the motors. They should be calm riding the motor. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I wanted to say that may Allah touch their hearts for them to be peace in that country, for us to celebrate it all. May Allah have mercy on us. May Allah guide us to the right paths. So all I want to say is Allah to grant them peace in their country. Yeah.
Our message is very simple. We learn a lot during the Ramadan. We learn forgiveness, we learn charity, we learn tolerance. My message to the Muslims, all what we learned during the Ramadan, we should carry on doing that. We should carry on doing that in outside the Ramadan month, which will help us. So I'm calling all the Muslims, we should please carry on what we learned during the Ramadan time. We should carry on to the rest of the month too. That is short of my message.
So happy Eid to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. And still to come here on the pause, the legal concession owner in the Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve in the Western region has teamed up with the Forestry Commission to flush out criminals who have taken entrenched illegal mining positions in the forest. Erastus Asare joins us after these. Welcome back from the break. Now, the legal concession owner in the Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve in the Western region has teamed up with the Forestry Commission to flush out armed criminals who have taken entrenched illegal mining positions in the forest. 15 excavators have been seized as the miners escape into the forest. But the raid has not been without confrontations and controversy. Since the operation started on Thursday, armed policemen from the Enchi District and Divisional Police Command drove into the forest to confront the team made up of soldiers and the Forestry Commission's Rapid Response Team, questioning the legitimacy of the operations in the forest. After heated verbal exchanges, they left. Now, subsequently, our sources with the troops informed us the Western North Regional Minister drove to the forest and asked the task force to stop tracking the seized equipment out of the forest because, according to him, he was not informed of the operation. Joining us now via Zoom is Erastus Asare. Also with us is Dr. Ken Ashibe, and he is the convener for the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, and Erastus is our environmental journalist here covering every bit of issues that comes with environmental degradation. Erastus, thank you for joining. What are the details of this particular story?
Just as you captured in your lead, we've been warning of mining or invasion of the Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve for some time now. And there were 5 groups that invaded the forest. when we started talking about it, government sent in the military to flush out 3 of the groups. In fact, the commander who led that team claimed that he could not find any other groups within the forest. But this operation has indeed confirmed what I kept saying, that there are 2 other groups who are situated within the forest and are still mining. And so we have still been notifying government. The sector minister, we've been notifying him. We've been telling him about the ongoing invasion of the forest reserves. But no action has been taken yet until the legal concession owner, Clean Jobs, decided to team up with the Forestry Commission to send troops in there. That was Thursday, and they started the onslaught. As from Thursday to today, they seized 15 excavators. Now, 25 excavators were tracked from the forest. They were mining illegally within the forest. When they heard of the operation, they tracked the 25 excavators to the edge of the forest. And that was the controversy, that they should seize the equipment and ask them to come forth with explanation as to why the equipment was found at the edge of the forest. But there was a banter between the deputy forest manager and the team, who would not allow them to seize the 25 excavators. So there were other confrontations. The district and divisional police commanders sent men in there ostensibly to arrest the team because they claim they are not aware of their operation. And it baffles my mind how the police suddenly got interested in illegal miners who are being chased out of the forest, when indeed it was within their jurisdiction to do so, and they have not done so. Subsequently, the Western North Regional Minister drove into the forest himself. He also asking the soldiers to stop tracking the equipment to the nearest assembly because he claims he was not notified. It was after we stepped in. And yes, the regional minister, Mr. Brentum, went in there and asked them to stop tracking the equipment to the nearest. So I sent him a message. In fact, I called him. He could not pick. I sent him a message asking why he wants them to stop. These are illegal miners. These are nature criminals who have invaded the forest for months. And we've been talking about it. As head of RESEC, he has not taken any action. So I was quite surprised that he was not encouraging the boys to do their job, but he was asking them to stop tracking the machines, which of course have been used for illegalities within the forest reserve. And his aide is defending that. He says the minister only sought to find out because as head of RESEC, he needs to know of any operation that is being conducted within the forest. But I disagree because you had the opportunity as head of RESEC to go in there and flash them out. After we have consistently talked about it on radio, on TV, on online, that there are people within the Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve degrading it. No action was taken. And so I was surprised that when some action is being taken, he is now asking them to stop because he has not been notified. And I think that these are the kind of interferences that is hindering the progress of fighting illegal mining in Ghana at the moment.
So he only wanted them to park the excavators on the road, or where is that? Because if they've not informed you about the operation, and you say they should stop tracking them, then what next? They should leave them there?
Yes, that's ostensibly that's what he means, that they should leave them in the forest. Okay. They should leave them in the forest. And when he stepped in, it emboldened the illegal miners. Some of them attempted to take back their machines, but the soldiers resisted. And so far, they've been able to cart 15 of the ones they seized within the forest to the Inche District Assembly, ready for prosecution.
What is left? What is being done to the 10 that are still in the forest then?
So these are two separate things.
Okay.
15 of them were seized actively mining within the forest reserve. 15 excavators. Those were the machines that he said they should stop tracking because they were tracking them to the Inche District Assembly. Now, 25, aside the 15, 25 were found tracked from the forest to the edge of the forest.
Okay.
When they had the tip of that, the operations were coming.
Okay.
The illegal miners tracked the 25 from the forest and placed them at the edge of the forest.
Okay.
So the Forestry Commission wanted to seize them for further investigations. And that is what the Deputy Forest Manager, Juan Felix, will not allow them to seize the equipment because he claims that the people have gotten wind and have tracked them to the edge of the forest, so it's not within their jurisdiction to do so.
Okay, quite interesting. So as we speak, what do you know has been the latest in the Tano-Nimiri forest?
So the soldiers are still there. The operation is still ongoing, the raid. They've been able to track 15 of the excavators found in the forest to the Inche District Assembly. There are other settlements within the forest. They've put up shelter, different shelters within the forest that they want to destroy. There are other equipment that have been fixed within the forest, like huge pumping machines, huge generators that they want to cut out of the forest as we speak. That is what they are doing at the moment. But let me say that, Kojo, if these interferences are not stopped, then definitely, because there are too many vested interests within the illegal mining space. People who are so connected to this. And if you look at how the police have behaved in this particular instance, when we have filed formal reports, people have filed formal reports to them, they have not adhered to it. They have not gone to the forest to arrest anybody. But soon as they saw that a team had come to the forest, they sent armed men in there to try to confront the team that is doing a legitimate job. And I think that the president, if he's so minded, should call these interferences to order.
Erastus, I'm grateful to you, and we're all grateful to you for that wonderful work you've been doing for Mother Ghana. Erastus Asaredonko is our environmental journalist here at Joe News. Well, let me bring in Dr. Ken Ashiwe. He is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. Doc, I'm grateful to you. Doc, I mean, we've all been in this fight together. There's the latest from Tano-Nimiri Forest. I don't know how you are receiving it.
I feel like crying, you know. I feel like crying. You know, how we do this to ourselves. And, you know, somebody's called a regional minister. You're a regional minister and, you know, you're going to stop those who are stopping a crime from taking place. Those excavators in that area of the forest or Ghana, what else could they be engaged in but mining? And if it is mining, these people that have, you know, have these excavators, do they have any license? Have you been told that there's any concession in this particular area? You know, so people like this are the people the president needs to call to order. People like this are not supporting. The IGP should be asking the police people who went there to go and stop this. That what is your locus? It's your locus to stop a crime from taking place. If the excavators are at the edge of, you know, the forest and they're not in the forest reserve, you can still see the tracks of those excavators. You can ask the question, what is the excavator doing? Is there any road in that particular place that the excavators are going to be used for? You see, it baffles my mind how we use some very cheap technicalities to want to thwart this thing, this you know, state that we are in. And it's the reason why His Excellency the President, we are pleading with you. The time to declare a state of emergency in the Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve is today. The Tano-Nimiri Forest Reserve and all those 9 or 40 forest reserves that are under attack. I've just seen a picture of the Bonsa water treatment plant. If you see the sludge that is being processed for treatment, you ask ourselves, what did we do to ourselves?
Yeah.
You know, we are currently cooking mudslides, landslides, and flooding that is going to happen in all of these areas. There's a picture that was taken by one of the coalition members of the Offin just this weekend. And if you see the way they've diverted the water and blocked the water courses, when the rains come, all of these rains are going to go into people's houses and people are going to die. Is that then that we'll start, crying? This is the time for His Excellency the President to declare a state of emergency in these places. We are just frustrating the Minister of Lands that is trying to solve this problem. The Western North Minister is one of these people who are, thwarting the effort of His Excellency the President, and they should be called to order and they should be called accountable. That police commander, for example, should be answerable. It's the same thing. This NG judge, what judge is this? We will definitely, in the coming days, be petitioning the Chief Justice. What law is this judge looking at to say that they should release these equipments to these criminals?
Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking when we see the damage that is being done to us, and the people who are supposed to fight this are complicit in this or incompetent to be able to handle this. The police will not go and deal with the thing, but when somebody is dealing with it, they want to go and stop the people. What is that? The police barriers that these excavators pass. Did they ask them questions to say, where are these excavators going? What are they going to do? What concessions do we have? We need to name all those, the 15 excavators. We need to name all those who imported them. Yeah. Those who were sold to, those who rented them, they all should be named and shamed. And when we are prosecuting, not only those Chinese people who are involved in it, but everybody who's along the chain who's involved in this should all be prosecuted. It is high time, Ghanaians, we are not angry enough. Okay. We have a window open by a president who wants to fight, by a minister who also wants to fight this. But unfortunately, the criminals are circling around them. And we're all sitting and we're watching. I am calling on the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Christian Council of Ghana, the Chief Imam, all those 50 people who rose up last year in anger against what was happening. Already the window is closing on us, and we all need to be up and doing, support the minister in the fight to ensure that we can win it. The window is closing up on us.
Doc, do stay with me. I have one last question to ask you, but I will bring in the CEO of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nana Ama Brown Kluche. Prof, grateful for joining. Now, we know the work that you're doing in the area of Galamsey. But after all that you've done and all that you keep doing, how do you view some of these occurrences which are still ongoing in some of our forests? And Aristotle has been naming these forests all the time.
Yeah, thank you, and good afternoon or good evening to your listeners. It's pathetic to hear stories like this, especially now after we have talked severally, after we have made several attempts to stop illegal activities in the forest. And more pathetic knowing that we have a minister or regional minister stopping the operations of the Forestry Commission. I've moved to Ashanti region for several operations, moved to Central region for several operations, without informing the regional ministers there. We all have our mandates as institutions. So if it was indeed the Forestry Commission in the forest who were stopping the illegal mining activities, then it's completely wrong for a regional minister to come in with police to stop them from doing their work. We have had instances where Forestry Commission staff there working to stop the illegal mining activities have been attacked, severely hurt, and fighting for their survival. It is completely wrong for a government appointee in this era to stop the operations of the Forestry Commission. It's been a struggle fighting this. The EPA, as I've said, we're doing our best, but our capacity, we can't do it alone. Forestry Commission is doing their best. Per their capacity, they can't do this fight alone. We need a combination of all efforts. We need the police, we need the military, we need the EPA, we need the Forestry Commission. In fact, we need the Minerals Commission, so the will of the government, and even the regional ministers to do this work. This is a big fight. I keep saying this, and we can't have any authority towing any effort in any way for what we are doing. So it is completely wrong, and I ask said earlier by the previous speaker.
Ken Ashibe. Dr. Ken Ashibe, yes.
Yes. The president will have to call him to order if all the things we are saying about the regional minister is true. Because the Forestry Commission is struggling, the EPA is struggling with this fight. With little resources, human and financial resources, we are doing our best. And we seem to be making some progress. We seem to be moving, getting somewhere with the fight against the mining in the forest areas. Okay. So we can't have such other impediments on our way as we are progressing. If today we've been able to enter some of the forests, if today we'll be able to form or employ water gas, launch them, if today we have talked and some of the river bodies are getting free of these illegal mining activities, and we'll get such authorities coming in to stop this kind of effort, then it means we are going back, or we're retarding our progress. So we completely condemn the action of the regional minister.
Okay.
As I said, if only those doing their work in stopping the illegal miners were from the Forestry Commission, from the story that I'm hearing, then the regional minister was wrong.
Okay. We understand that the legal owner of the concession worked with the army to try and track these equipment out of the forest.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the things we do when we meet the illegal miners on site, we take the excavators, because that is what they are using to destroy the land, to destroy the forest, to destroy the water body. So that's probably the first thing that we do. Yeah. Take away their excavators. And if they're able to, if they are the effort of the Forestry Commission and the military men on site, and you cannot mistake a military man for any other thing.
Yeah.
If their effort was to take those excavators from site, which this is what we normally would do, and they've been stopped from doing that, or whatever they seize have been brought back to the illegal miners, then Charlie, we are retrogressing as a nation.
From the experience you've gathered in this short period you've been in charge of EPA, what do you think we must change about the fight to help us win this war we are in?
So I will normally say that we know exactly what to do.
Okay.
There are too many pretense in the system, and we need to all together fight this. There are people who can do this. We all collectively can do this. But if you get people, other authorities stopping us from working, I see some excavators, and I got phone calls from people saying, please release them for them, and this and that and that. I said, no, leave me to do my work. Be at your corner to do your work. We all have our mandate in operation. That actually disturbs and makes us retrogress in our effort to fight this illegal mining. Okay. I am committed. I would say EPA is committed. All we need is the right resources, the right cooperation and coordination within the country to fight this. And we don't want anybody in authority to stop us from doing our work.
Okay.
We have a mandate to deliver to Ghanaians.
So what specific things or steps are you taking to deal with Galamsey as EPA?
Yeah, so we are coordinating with the communities, talking to chiefs and elders, the youth especially. Some of the youth are I would say, level-headed, and they understand the value for the environment. They just need the empowerment to fight it within their local areas. That is one effort we are making, to work with the communities to fight this for us. Because for some of us, we go and then we leave. And I understand they even work in the night when we have left. They bring back their tools and work again in the night. And it takes people who live in the area to continue with the fight when we have left. They need empowerment, which we have started engaging them on. We need the youth in the whole country to raise their voices. Some of us may face them very soon, in a few years to come. But the youth and the children will still have the Ghana that we have today to manage. We have the resources that we have today to manage. If by the time they get to our age and they don't have any resources to fall on, I don't know what the future we are leaving for them. So we all need to be part of this fight. And obviously, we need the will of the government in all of these fights that we are in.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm grateful and thanks to you for the work that you've been doing. We've been monitoring them. We wish you all the best, and we pray that you're able to really keep doing what you're doing to help all of us win this particular fight. I'm grateful, and all the best. Now, let me bring in Dr. Ken Ashby. Doc, I wanted to ask you, with all that we are seeing, are you still confident that we can really win this fight against Galamsey?
You have the Minister for Land and Natural Resources. You have the Forestry Commission, Dr. Brown and his people. You even by extension, you have His Excellency the President as well, saying and doing all the right things that have to be done. The challenge we need to deal with. So that's what gives me the confidence. But on the ground, when you see the challenges that are happening, the recent landmine is mudslides that happened in some of the Galamsey areas. You go into some of the communities, and the fact that Galamsey is happening right in the center of some of the communities. You stand on the Praso, the bridge, and you can see, chamfans still in the water bodies. You go into some of these areas, and you see chamfans being manufactured in some of these communities. So whilst you are getting the positive signs of work being done, you also have people like the Western North Regional Minister. You have the judge in Enchi, for example, and the order he or she has given. Those are the things that then says to you, it's as if you're in a yo-yo dance. Some of us are pulling in one direction, and the others are then, pushing us into retrogression. And again, so I agree with Prof. Kuche when he says we know the things to do.
Yeah.
So my frustration is why His Excellency the President will not declare the state of emergency in the forest reserves that are under attack, on the water bodies that are under attack. The Minister for Land and Natural Resources has asked his colleague Attorney General and then the Chief Justice set up fast-track courts. What I add to it is that because of the 24-hour economy that His Excellency's government says they're going to do, make sure that this fast-track court dedicated to this Galamsey is a 24-hour court. Let's take a lead from what the UK did when they had the rout. When these people are arrested, like has been done, immediately you take them to the court within 24 hours. You try their cases, you sentence them if they are found guilty, you fine them, you put them in custodial sentences, and then people start to see that this is what we're dealing with. Get the military involved. We are at war. So the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, these people, these foreigners who have come armed to the teeth, you respond to them in equal measure.
Okay.
What I'm prescribing is that I'm not the ones who will be prescribing shoot to kill, but we should get the army armed with weapons that they can fire, pellets that will have indelible ink in them, such that when you are found and you are shot at, these pellets, when they will penetrate your clothing, they would dye you forever, and then they would also have itching creams in them, so that they would react to you and you'll be forced to go to the hospital, and these people would be arrested. Okay. And I think in the state of emergency, like that happened where excavators having been seized and been returned, you give the power to the military, give the power to the Forestry Commission. Once they find these excavators, they immobilize them so that it cannot be used completely anymore.
Okay.
Whether they are pouring salt into the engines, whether they are burning them, and later on sending scavengers to come and cut them into pieces. You make sure that these weapons of mass destruction, which the excavators are, you are hitting these illegal miners at where it hurts them. The Minister of Interior had said that we'll take these chassis numbers and we'll use that to arrest those who imported them, who bought them, who are renting them, so that all of these people can be prosecuted. How is it that in our country, Ghana, the third most expensive in terms of value that we imported into this country were excavated last year? What roads are we doing that we need 24 excavators around the Tano-Nimiri forest? What roads are there? What construction is happening in there? All of that is being used for this illegality. And as Professor Akluche said, we are all being hypocritical about it. And we are pretending as if we don't know that these are weapons of mass destruction that are causing damage to us. You should just look at the video about the water in the Bonsa water treatment plant. The turbidity of that water, that should be 5 NTUs. I'm pretty sure it will be over 14,000 NTUs. And that is only turbidity. How much of the heavy metals are in that? Is Ghana Water able to extract all those heavy water metals out of it before giving it to the people of Takwa? Again, we have also a petition going on that His Excellency the President, as he said when he was in opposition, the LI 2462 should not be amended. It should be revoked. He should be targeting of saving about 60% of our forest reserves. We know that in the past, the likes of Chirano, the likes of Newmont, the bauxite mining have been happening under the guidelines and all of that. Is fine. But all of these new people that we are giving licenses to under the LI, they are destroying our forest reserve. We should stop it. You know, the ones that we've given historically, let's hold on to that one. But we should stop it and make sure that he revokes it. He currently has super majority in Parliament.
To do that.
Parliament is on recess. We can take whatever action it is to arrest that particular ally that has gone in to be able to amend it. It's a terrible law that has to be done away with.
Grateful to you. Dr. Ken Ashigwe is convener for the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. This is still the pause, but still to come here. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have imposed a 0.5% levy on imported goods to finance their newly formed 3-state union, the Alliance of Sahel States. Dr. Gebe will be helping us to do analysis of this position taken by these 3 countries. Do stay with us for that. Well, welcome back from the break now. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have imposed a 0.5% levy on imported goods to finance their newly formed 3-state union, the Alliance of Sahel States. Initially established as a security pact in 2023, the alliance now seeks to evolve into a powerful economic bloc with plans to introduce biometric passports and strengthen both economic and military cooperation. The levy, which takes effect immediately, exempts humanitarian aid and will support the bloc's operations. This move marks a decisive break from decades of free trade under ECOWAS, highlighting a deepening divide between these Sahel nations, each led by military rulers, and southern democracies like Nigeria and Ghana. Let's share with you how this whole thing plays out. Now, they've imposed 0.5% levy on imported goods into their country, so be it from Ghana and Nigeria, wherever you pay that. Now, what does this affect? All goods imported into the 3 countries globally, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, from wherever. I'm not sure there are any exemptions from what we do know on this. So be it from the West African country, outside of Africa, you pay the 0.5% levy imposed. So that's what this really does affect. Does it have any impact on ECOWAS? What it means is that ECOWAS has free trade across West Africa. But if this is what the 3 African countries or 3 members of the Alliance for Sahel States are going to do, then it means it breaks that free trade across West Africa. Because if you import from West Africa, you still have to pay that particular 0.5% levy. So this is what it means to what we do. Now, in terms of import from ECOWAS countries, we know that especially Burkina Faso import were 38.2%, 0.2%, yes. Niger 12.90%, Mali 24.60%. That's the sort of import that these 3 countries do engage in. So exactly what that will mean. Now, in terms of their contribution to the ECOWAS GDP, all the 3 countries together do contribute about 7% of GDP of ECOWAS. So that's the kind of conversation we are having here. Well, joining me on the telephone now is Dr. Bonnie Yao Gebe. He is an international relations expert. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. What could be the implications for the three countries themselves economically?
Thank you very much. The only thing is that your line is breaking.
Forgive us. So did you get my question?
We'll do our best, but speak louder and clearer.
Okay. So I want to find out the implication this can have for the three countries themselves economically.
Thank you very much. It's interesting that these three countries, I call them us. That's Association of Sahel States. That's exactly what you were saying. As a matter of fact, in terms of realistic picture on the ground, these are probably the three most poor or poorest countries in our sub-region. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Secondly, the three of them are landlocked. They are landlocked. So I am of the view that they should rather be interested in trading with the rest of the ECOWAS nations. The fact that you have decided to form an association doesn't therefore mean that you cut yourself completely, politically, economically, and otherwise. And the trade aspect is that it's going to affect them directly or indirectly. Now, both the three countries, they belong to the UEMOA, that's the Francophone replica of the ECOWAS. And within the UEMOA, the three nations, together with the rest, they have 0%, trade relations. I'm talking about tariffs. So they don't have any tariffs being imposed on goods coming from each other's market.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they still are members of the UEMOA as they have decided to withdraw from the ECOWAS. So that is the little twist for me. But essentially, these three countries, they import goods from outside because they are landlocked. They use the maritime states.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all the other ECOWAS members who are coastal states or maritime states. So if they are going to do this, what about, for instance, if Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal decide to impose higher tariffs or duties on the goods that they bring through their ports? So I think that they should have thought more thoroughly, to be more circumspective in what they are doing. Because ultimately they are going to impose more hardship on their own citizens.
Well, but you mentioned earlier that they are the three most poorest countries in ECOWAS. What if they want to use this levy to develop themselves? Because in the past, their government haven't done the best. And again, if they exempt ECOWAS countries, wouldn't that turn out to be a game changer for them economically?
But the fact is that you are not autonomous. Economically, you are not autonomous, meaning that you depend completely on yourself or on each other. I mean, you may have collective interests. But the fact is that whilst you are imposing tariffs, higher tariffs on goods coming into your country, you also export to other countries. So if people want to, if the other nations, other states also want to do similar, it means that it's going to affect their economies as well. So I don't think it's the best decision. And how much are they going to get from this particular arrangement, the three of them? I don't know, because I don't have the statistics to actually support my position.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think that it's not in the best interest for the three nations. They could have gone slowly. First of all, you decided to withdraw from the ECOWAS. The economic indicators do not favor you. So you take some time, look at it analytically, whether it is in your best interest to do what you are going to do. If you look at probably the gains that they will get from the three of them, after all, it is a realistic kind of decision that you pursue your collective interest. So that's what they are doing.
Okay.
I'm not very convinced that this is the best thing to do. But if it is for the purposes of generating more income for their three individual economies, fine. But they need to really think thoroughly about what they are doing in terms of the policy implications for their economies.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to you, Dr. Yao Gebe, on this one. This has been paused. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Thanks so much for being a part of it. We'll meet again some other time. But happy Eid to our people again. That was and that let me say Muslim me ma mobo kane nyamne donzuru baba if I go on pipe on bobo ezo na ewa na orbo eva somdwe eva ramze mu amaye wa West. We'll meet again some other time.